You've sentenced 400 people in your career. Murderers, embezzlers, men who hurt people they claim to love. You stopped feeling anything years ago. That's what makes you good at this job. But today, the bailiff hands you a folder, and the name on it stops your heart mid-beat. Your son's name, your son's case. And in 11 minutes, you're supposed to walk into that courtroom and decide his fate. How did you get here? Rewind 18 years. You took the bench because you believed in something, a system that didn't care who you were, only what you did. You built a reputation as the judge who couldn't be bought, couldn't be swayed, couldn't be moved by tears in the gallery. Lawyers warned their clients, don't bother begging, this one doesn't bend. You wore that reputation like armor. You never imagined the system would one day point its blade at your own family. Level 1, the phone call. It's 2 a.m. when your phone rings. You almost don't answer. Judges get crank calls, threats, people who hate what they stood for in court that week. But it's your son's number, and your stomach drops before he even says a word. Dad, he says, voice cracking, I think I did something really bad. You sit up in the dark, heart hammering, and ask the question every parent dreads. What did you do? He tells you about the car, the hit and run on Maple Street, the man who didn't make it. He was drunk, he says, he panicked, he drove away before he even understood what happened. You don't speak. You can't speak. Because in that moment you're not a father anymore, you're a judge who just heard a confession to vehicular manslaughter, and you know exactly what happens next in this system you've spent your life protecting. You think the hardest part is that phone call. But what happens when the case is randomly assigned to your courtroom? Nobody saw that coming, least of all you. Level 2, the assignment. You could have recused yourself. You should have. But your son begs you not to. He's terrified of being railroaded by a judge who doesn't know him. Doesn't know he's not a monster, just a kid who made one catastrophic choice. And some part of you, some part you're ashamed of, wants control over what happens to him. So you say nothing. You let the system assign the case the way it always does, blind, automatic, merciless in its randomness. And it lands on your desk. Now you're sitting across from your clerk, who has no idea the defendant shares your last name for a reason that isn't coincidence. She asks if everything's all right. You say yes. You lie to the first person of what will become dozens. Because the moment anyone finds out, you'll be removed from the case, and removed from any chance of controlling what happens to your son. You think hiding the connection is the worst lie you'll tell. But level 3 is where the real corruption begins, and there's no walking it back. Level 3, the trial. The prosecutor is good. Too good. She lays out blood alcohol levels, traffic camera footage, a grieving widow on the stand describing the husband who never came home. Every piece of evidence is a hammer, and you feel each blow as if it's striking you instead of your son. You're supposed to be neutral. You're supposed to rule on objections without bias. But every time the defense attorney falters, every instinct in your body screams to help him, to lean the scales just slightly, just enough. So you do it, quietly, a sustained objection that should have been overruled. A piece of damaging testimony you find a technical reason to suppress. Nobody notices except you. You know exactly what you're doing, and you know exactly what it makes you. Not a judge. Not anymore. Just a father wearing a robe, breaking the only rule that ever mattered to you. You think bending the rules quietly is something you can live with. But level 4 forces you to choose between your integrity and your son. Out loud, in front of everyone. Level 4. The verdict. The jury comes back guilty. Of course they do. The evidence was overwhelming despite everything you did to soften it. Now it's not about guilt or innocence anymore. It's about the sentence, and that decision belongs to you alone. The prosecutor is pushing for the maximum. 12 years. The victim's widow is staring at you, waiting for justice. And your son is staring at you too, silently begging for mercy only you can give. That night, you don't sleep. You sit alone in your study with sentencing guidelines spread across the desk like a man trying to solve an equation that has no correct answer. Give him the minimum and you betray the victim's family, the law, everything you built your name on. Give him what the law actually demands, and you may be sending your own child away for over a decade. There is no version of tomorrow where you walk out of that courtroom feeling like a good man. You think the math is impossible now. But level 5 sentencing day is where the truth about who you really are finally comes out, whether you're ready or not. Level 5 sentencing day. The courtroom is silent except for the sound of your own heartbeat in your ears. You stand at the bench, robe heavier than it's ever felt, and you look out at two families forever altered by one night on Maple Street. The widow, her children, and your son, hands cuffed, waiting for the words that will define the rest of his life, and yours. You open your mouth to speak, and for the first time in 18 years on the bench, you don't know what's going to come out. Will you give the system what it demands? Or will you give your son what every part of your broken heart is screaming for? The widow is watching you. The press is watching you. Your son is watching you. And somewhere in that silence, you finally understand there was never a version of today where you got to be both a fair judge and a good father. You can only choose one, and the whole world is about to find out which one you really are. You read the sentence. Whatever number you choose, it follows you for the rest of your life. Etched into a courtroom transcript, etched into your son's eyes, etched into the silence of every dinner you'll ever share again. Because justice was never supposed to be personal. And the moment it became personal, you stopped being a judge and became something far harder to define. You'll never know if you made the right choice. Some choices don't have one. If you were on that bench, would you have ruled as a judge or as a father? Tell me what you would have done in the comments below, and subscribe for more impossible decisions that test exactly how far you'd go for the people you love.